I'm curious for you. Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, you know. And if you've never, I don't know, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, you know. Um, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure? That's what you're telling me? No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, you know, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures? No, it was not. It was steps to it, you know, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one. You know, sorry that I didn't want to make it personal because you asked me the same question last year, and last year I was in the right mind space to answer the question back.
Man, I love that, bro. I love that. What is up? What is up, fam? Hey,
Hey,
Corey, you
hey,
fit?
hey, how you doing? Hey,
I'm
you hear me?
good, man.
What's up?
I'm good, man. Let me go ahead and get my intro in, man.
All right.
I just love it. But here you go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Ryan and Corey. You listen to the Much About Nothing podcast, the show where we give expert takes and good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we will be talking ball. That's basketball and football. If you got something to say, put it in the comments. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please like, share, and comment. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Corey, let's get into
Yes, yes. Let's get into it, man. I just want to start this episode
it.
all by saying, light the beam. Hey, the beam out the dike, man. Hey, I was wondering. My question was, does that man get paid by every time he light the beam? Because right now his family ain't doing too well, man. You know, the beam, you know, gotta shut it down for the year, probably
Before,
next year.
hey, look, before we get into that, man, shout
Uh,
out to the people in the chat. What's up, Tilt? What up, Vontae? What up, AD? Uh, what up, Corey? He in the chat today. Hey man, so before I listen, man, congratulations, Golden State. Uh,
mhm.
we've been waiting for y'all for a while.
Wait for who?
Yeah, to finish our series.
I've been waiting for you to even matter. You ain't got no
Oh,
championship. What do you see? When you seen the championship living?
got it.
None.
Yeah,
Zero. You never
right.
watched one. You never seen one. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You never had on your screen a championship that you yourself has watched y'all win. You know? So we've been waiting on y'all to win something that even matters. Yeah. So
listen, man.
going on
I'm
to
not
these
throwing no. I'm not throwing no shade to Golden State today. Congratulations. You can throw as much shade as you want about Philadelphia.
oh yeah,
Uh,
it's a lot of shade to go around. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't won nothing. So I mean it's
I
nothing you
listen. Hey,
really
go
can
ahead,
say.
man. I'm not throwing. I'm not throwing no shade. Do your thing, bro. Do your thing. Do your thing.
Well, let's start this thing off with the thoughts on Giannis' comments. With comments, we'll start this thing off by saying Giannis said that there are not failures in sports. And I want to know what y'all think, especially in the comments. Do y'all think in sports there are never failures, there are only successes, and it's only like what he was getting at was basically saying that it steps to success. At the end of the day, every failure, I mean, where every point builds to success, so it's no failures. I mean, me myself purposely, I think is pushing forth this same narrative of this generation, thinking it's participation type trophies and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I think it shies away from losing. because me myself, I believe in failures, but I overcome my failures. But I'm not going to change the word. If I set a goal, and I'm pretty sure Giannis set this thing out, and his goals and expectation of the season was not to lose to a playoff team. They were the number one seed in the East, and they lost to a play-in team. If you have expectation, you set it out. It's just like any mission in life. If I set out, I'm pretty sure this podcast, we say by the end of the year, we want a certain number of subscribers. The end of the year comes up and we don't meet that. I'm not saying, hey man, we did real well. We met. Nah, we failed, but let's get on. Let's get to it. We want don't mean to stop, don't mean it's a loss. I'm not even saying Giannis is a failure. I'm saying he failed this year. Set standards next year and meet those expectations. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you would have asked what he said Michael Jordan did, I guarantee you asked Michael Jordan, he probably say, yeah, those 9 years I failed. And if I set out for a promotion and I don't get it at the end of the year, guess what? I failed. It's okay. It's the negative connotation towards failure. There are no negative. It's the way you're looking at it. At the end of the day, we all have failures throughout life, but those failures build us to be stronger individuals. But don't change the word. I think he articulated it very well, and it was good. It was just wrong. I just think at the end of the day, if it was any reporter with sense, they would have said they would have called him out on it. But I think at the end of the day, Giannis is a very likable guy, and most people would try to go along with it because he is a great human being at the end of the day. But nah, it's certainly failures in sports. If you have expectations, like I'm pretty sure what Sacramento didn't fail unless they had championship aspiration, but I'm pretty sure they wanted to make the playoffs. They had certain things, and that they met those expectations, then they didn't fail. But for I know Giannis' expectation was to win the championship this year. It's just facts. At the end of the day, do you think they went in saying, you know what, we just want to make the playoffs, we can lose to Miami, a play-in team, and that's okay with me. Let's see. What do you think, Ham?
Okay. I think that let's break down what the actual question was.
Mm-hmm.
The question was the season a failure? They didn't ask
Mm-hmm.
was Giannis a failure because
Yes. Was the season a failure?
I get to whether Giannis was a failure in a second. Was the season a failure? And I'm going to say no because I think the success is measured in progress.
Mm-hmm.
And if you mean tell me at the beginning of the season, um, they ended up earning the number one seed, going into the playoffs, and lose. I don't think that's a failure. I really don't think it's a failure. Like they were competitive. It's it's basketball, man. Like anybody that's played basketball know that the team that got next always got a chance of beating you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't mean you're a failure because you lost. Like I don't think that.
I don't
I
think
don't
that's the
think that.
question again when you say you're a failure. The
I don't
question
think the
was
season
the
was a
season?
failure.
Yeah, all right.
I don't think the season that game was a failure. The game was a failure, but the season wasn't a failure.
Was it successful?
Was the season successful? Yes, the
Yeah.
season was successful.
What would a
They failed
success
and
at?
they get they earned the one seed.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis is establishing his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee. It wasn't that long ago when Milwaukee was the laughing stock. They were the
Mm-hmm.
laughing stock in the East for a long time.
We're not talking about Milwaukee though.
I,
We're not talking about
I
Giannis. We
understand.
saying this season because you saying overall, yeah, Milwaukee is successful because they have came from nothing. But this season in particular, you can say Giannis. I don't mean the player Giannis. He's successful. He is a millionaire. Came from nothing. He's very successful. But the season in itself, if they said, let me, if you went out,
You
you
can't
was in the
fail
military, right?
if you're the number one seed for the
And
season.
lost to the 7th seed.
Okay. Well, the playoffs was a failure. There, I like your answer, Tom. The playoffs was a failure. The season, no. Like you number one seed.
The
Nobody who made
playoffs
the
is
play.
part of the
Nobody.
season.
What I'm saying is nobody that made the playoffs. Season was a failure. Everybody who made the playoffs, their season was successful. The playoffs, only one team gets to be successful in the playoffs.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this where you get the participation trophy generations. At the end of the day, instead of saying that you lost, well, let's say, you know what I'm saying, it's good because you participated. You got in the
That
playoffs.
ain't it,
You're a
man.
winner too. You won too because you made the playoffs. I don't know. I'm just of a different, I guess I'm a different kind of breed.
Mm,
I play when I compete, it's just winning and nothing else. If I didn't, I'm not gonna try to call. Hey man, you know what? I play cornhole, right? And I could throw 8 bags in a row. I can beat the crap out of somebody, right? On my end. But if we lose, my teammate, let's say he gives up a heck load of points. I don't walk away saying, man, you know what I scored? We lost. At the end of the day, I'm saying, man, I'm getting better at throwing, man. You see that? It's successful because every bag I throw, I get better at the next bag. I lost. Losing is losing. That's it. Now I can overcome. I can take that and learn from it, but I'm learning from failures. I'm not learning from success. Success. At the end of the day, when I win, I look back on my failures and I'm so happy about my success because I know I overcame my failures. But at the end of the day, to take something, and Aaron Donald, I've been a Golden State fan since Steph Curry, not that far back, but it's a bigger question of I never hear how long you've been a Golden State fan when we lose. You know what I'm saying? I only hear it when we win, you know. I only hear the critiques of fanship when we win, but nobody says if Golden State would have lost, yes, that would have been a failure. Yes. They failed this season. They wanted to return to the championship and win another championship, and it's fine. It's okay. It's okay to fail. That's like saying, okay, everybody that plays in the NBA, they are successful. It ain't no need to win the championship. There's no need to win.
They are successful
Every
as a
year,
matter.
every season. I'm not saying that I don't want to make it because you're trying to twist the stage. Yes, they are successful, but that is not the question. We're asking, is every team, every season successful? They got success. So it's no everybody matter. It's no need to win. Because you're a success regardless, just for showing up. Ain't no need to win a championship. You the same thing as me. We both successful. So why you win? Why even win? What is winning? What is winning? If it's
Okay.
successful for me just being in the playoffs.
All right. Let me raise my hand so I can get in here.
All
All
right.
right. So, all right. Thing one, as far as the statement of success, well, these are the most successful human beings in the history of the world. I want you to stop and think about it. Like to think where they are as human beings, just in the history of human beings, they are some of the most successful human beings to ever have walked the earth. That's first off the answer that comes.
Mhm.
Secondly, when it comes to the season, there is only one winner. And I'm not going to say that everyone else is a failure. And by that same token, if that's the case, when we look at Steph Curry's career at the end and say he didn't win a championship every single year, I'm not going to say that his career was a failure. I'm not going to say that. Like, because that would be foolish. He is one of the most successful human beings to pick up a basketball ever. So how am I gonna say how would I say that? You can't pick and choose
Again,
and
that's not
say
what we're
that when
talking
it
about.
matters.
That's
Like
not
like like
you changing the question
it's the
again.
same thing.
You
It's
saying
the
the seat?
exact
No,
same
it's
thing.
not.
It's the same
You
thing.
just changed the kind of, and I want you to hear this. What he said is, okay, just because you go in 9 seasons, I'm not saying nobody's saying he's a failure. You're making it about the person. We saying you have failed. That doesn't make just because you failed don't make you a failure. That's labor as a failure. I'm not saying he's a failure or anybody in the NBA, but the question of the season, when you go for goals and those goals are not met, you have failed at meeting those goals. I can't call it. And we could say individual successes, all of that. But I'm saying overall, what was the goal for the season? Not the goal for you, individual statistics. Because if your goal was to get MVP, you got
Yes.
that. But what was your goal for the end of the season? What was your goal?
The
If your
question would have.
goals were to win a championship and you did not meet that expectation, you failed. And that's it.
Hey, Mr. Roman, I'm gonna agree with you there. I'm assuming Mr. Roman Jeremy.
Mhm.
I'm gonna agree with you there. The question at hand was the season a failure?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. Like
Mhm.
like that. I mean, throughout the so much goes on in the season that we
Mhm.
are not even at liberty to. The stuff we at liberty to is enough to fill up an episode on ESPN every day. But the things that we aren't even, the things that we aren't liberty to, all the different things that go into a season. Like I'm not going to say the number one seed in the East had a failure of a season. I just won't say it. I don't even think that they were the most talented team. But every single year, Giannis will take whatever players that you put up there, and they compete hard. They play
Mhm.
well. Like I mean, I just
Sounds like the same thing they say in participation. Y'all play hard. Y'all participated, man. Get out there. Yeah, you won. You're a winner. And I should have downloaded this clip, man, where he said, "Hey, you know what I'm saying?" When he said, "Yo, if your data says it doesn't matter, you're all good for winning, then that means your data is just a loser." Cause that's kind of loser talk. At the end of the day, I'm okay with saying I want to win. I want to win. At everything I do, my goal is definitely to win. That's what I'm saying. And I agree with you, Jeremy, when they say chosen goal. So if I go back, and I'm pretty sure if they ask Giannis, what's your goal for the end of the season? He'll say win the championship. Win the championship. If his overall goal was to make the playoffs or get the 1 seed, I'd say he was successful. But we all know that man goal for the season was to win the championship. Now, it's some teams out here. I ain't gonna say that was the Rockets' goal. We know that wasn't their goal. The Rockets' goal was probably make the playoffs, and if they didn't make the playoffs, it's failure. It's what you think their goals were. At the end of the day, I believe his goals was to win the championship, and he didn't meet that. So,
Okay.
why is your goal to win
Okay.
so bad? I mean, I don't know anybody that ever set out for something. I guess the goal is to win. I don't know what's inside my nature to want to win, but I like to win. I like winning over losing, but it ain't like losing. Matter of fact, I learned more from losing than winning. I have lost at a lot of things, but I don't try to say, man, you know what? I won. Nah, I didn't. I lost. But you know what? When I won, and I grew up like this, my Tony Stokes, man. Tony Stokes was better than me at a lot of stuff, man. Beat the crap out of me at a lot of stuff. But when I eventually won, I felt good about those winners because I know I overcame the losses. I didn't stop. I didn't let those defeat me or keep me down. And I think, I mean, I guess we just see it differently, you know?
Yep. And so and again, Jeremy, again, it's the interpretation of the question. The question is, I think it is at its nature, was the season a success? In my opinion, it was because I interpret the question of was the season success. If you want to go
Mm-hmm.
into the, if you want to go into trying to presume what the goals were for the organization,
Mm-hmm.
whether how they looked at how they how they were going to set against every, I mean, you can go into all the hypothetical variables, but the question is, was the season success? I think that it was. At the end, one team was going to win, and that does not mean that we had 29 other failures. However, I will say this because I
Did he
listened
fail
to
at anything then? Because he didn't win the championship. What did he? He didn't fail. So he won.
the season was a success. He didn't win a
So
championship.
it's no failures
Two
then.
things can be true. Two
You
things
might
can
as
be
well
true.
not win. What is winning?
Two th-
What's the
two things can be true. The season
uh-huh.
was not a failure, but he failed at the goal of winning the championship. But my next question, piggybacking off of this before we go to the next one, I listened to Charles Barkley talk about it because Charles gets salty when you
Yeah,
bring up the fact that he didn't win a championship,
yeah.
right? So what we say that his career was a failure because I'm sure that his goal
Mm-mm.
was to win a championship. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we, his goal was to win a championship, ain't no doubt in
Mm-hmm.
my mind that Charles Barkley's goal
Mm-hmm.
was to win a championship. So
He
would
failed
you,
at that goal, yeah.
so would you say that his career was a failure?
That was the only thing for his career. That was the only
Exactly.
goal he had in his career.
See, that's my point. That's
Yeah.
my point. If you use that
Mm-hmm.
same logic that you're using
Mm-hmm.
for Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
if you use that same logic and use it in that context, then you understand what we're saying that it's not a failure. Because Charles Barkley's career was not a failure, even though his goal was to win a championship and he didn't
You think
accomplish
that
that.
was his overall goal for when I look at careers, I think your overall goal is the Hall of Fame. At the end of the day, I think your overall goal is the Hall of Fame.
Man, you
And I
know.
think if you don't meet, but you can call it that. If you want to call it like that, I would call it, yes, he failed at. If you want to place it
It's,
like that, I don't place it like that. But if you want to say his goal, his ultimate goal in the West Name, and he didn't meet that, then yes, his career is a failure. And I like Shaq answer because bring up, you can bring up dog on what's name. Of course, he would say that. Of course, why wouldn't he say that it wasn't that important to him? Because he know he didn't meet that. But you hear Shaq response. Shaq said it did. I had expectations. Why you didn't mention that? Because it fit your argument to say what what's the name said. But at the end of the day, no, it's losing. You lost. And you're trying to make it sweeter because you lose. And that's what I say. That is the mentality of losers. The only people that would state that are losers. Because winners at the end of the day have no problem with saying that I lost. Because
yeah,
overall, I know in the end that I'm gonna keep pushing forward and win. But I'm
okay.
not gonna sit back and call a loss a win. Nah, that's not it.
Okay, and my question is, why can't it just be? Why can't we identify that he didn't accomplish that one goal
Identify. That's a good
that
word
he?
right there.
Yeah,
Why
I
can't
mean,
we just identify why a man can't identify as a woman? Same reason why you can't identify. Words matter. Winning is winning, losing is losing. The same reason. At the end of the day, we start changing losing to winning. You devalue what winning is. You take away from those people that host that trophy at the end of the year. And I'm pretty sure you probably know, and it might be the reason because you never hosted that trophy as a 76ers fan. You never went along for that ride, so you don't know what it's like to be like that. But at the end of the day, I don't take nothing away from if we don't win this year, guess what? It's one winner and all the rest of them is losers. I would never state that Minnesota Vikings won anything. You know how I feel about that. We had a 13-3 record. What did I tell you? That does not matter. Who cares? Championship. I don't not that last year. You don't see me saying Minnesota Vikings had a winning season. No, you lost. The winners. Do you feel like you won something? Let me hear you. If you debate, you go into conversation right now with anybody as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. You do not bring up nothing about that season because you know what they're going to say at the end. You lost. You're a loser.
well, I'm gonna say this: last season, the Eagles did not win a championship.
Mhm.
At the beginning of the season, I probably wouldn't place them in the championship game. I wouldn't place them in the Super Bowl. However, I do not feel that season was a loss, and I feel like the momentum carried by how well they played will that success will progress into more success. I think the success is perpetual. I think that winning breeds winning, and I think that what the culture that they're creating by winning out in Milwaukee, there's no way that I would say that the season is a failure, knowing that they have been building on that winning culture when that winning culture has not been existed in quite a while out there in Milwaukee.
What
And
if they never won then? What if Philly never wins? The Eagles never win. Let's say they never win. Did this season build towards something? Cause let's say Jalen Hurts never wins a championship. Let's say he never wins. Was this season a success? Because it built to nothing. It would build to nothing.
I guess I don't even think we need to even beat this. This horse is barely breathing. We have beaten it to death, and I don't think we're gonna ever get on the same point on this. I think that you can have a successful season without winning a championship. That's
Yes,
what I
Todd, I
say.
would agree. The Vikings have never won. They have all failing seasons. They have never been successful at any season ever. I'm not out here. I root for them, and I want to be there when they finally find success. And all these seasons that we ain't lost in the NFC championships, I don't build those up as anything because I know how that feel. I'm not. I don't. It ain't no. To me, it's no momentary. I hate the feeling of losing, man. I'm dead serious. I get. If we would have lost today, I would have been different on this podcast, y'all. I mean, it affects me to a point. Like I don't like losing. At the end of the day, I don't find no wins in it. At the end
I
of the day,
understand
I
that.
try to get better, but I don't. I'm not lifting up those as moral victories. We lost. Let's move on. I want to get back at it because I want to win.
All
But
right.
on to the next one. That's
What's the next one?
oh my God, Steph Curry, man, Steph Curry, Steph Curry, Steph Curry. We're gonna start.
It's not personal. It's strictly business.
Steph Curry went on a rampage today, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have just seen a master at work. Steph Curry meant business, and he went out there to let them know. Well, I mean, he had a limited amount of help, especially from scoring. But at the end of the day, I do want to mention Looney. Looney got 20 something rebounds. Oh my God, he was on the board. But like I told him, that's the least that you can do for the man. God, Lee, he can't play every position, but you give him the ball, he gonna do something special with it. So I shouts out to Steph Curry for putting up 50, man. At the end of the day, that man was a monster. Was a problem, masterpiece on the court. So the question is, who's the best player on the planet?
God, this is just so bad. This
You know how I felt about the situation.
I
I'm gonna
know.
toss it out there.
I feel
Who's
like
the
we should.
best player on the planet?
I feel like I'm responsible. I should have vetted these questions before we got on, but today I did not vet these questions. Uh,
Who's the
what?
best player on the planet? I just
Well,
want to hear your opinion. Ain't no wrong one. Who's the best player on the planet right now?
man, you are making Wardell just one of the most hated people in our circle, man.
That's fine with me.
Like
They
like like
hated Jordan. They hate LeBron. If you ain't got
God
no haters, you ain't
knows,
got
man.
success.
I want to celebrate this guy today, but man,
Yeah,
you
man.
make it hard, Corey. You make it hard.
That's
You
a
just
question. I want to know people's opinions in the chat and up here. Who is the best player on the planet in the NBA right now? Who is yours? Yeah, I mean it's personally opinionated. Who is your best player on the planet? Who you think it is?
me,
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not mad at you for that. That's your opinion. Good. Sure. I just wanted to hear your thoughts. I think it maybe it's a what I'm saying, it's a team thing. But
You said
I
because
happen to root for the
you said
player.
because I'm gonna be specific like you are being, all right? Like because this is what
Hmm.
we talk because you were talking about being intentional about your words and things of that nature. All
Hmm.
right, I think that Joel MVP is the MVP,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
He's the most valuable player.
Hmm.
So at this given in the NBA is the highest level of basketball in the world,
Hmm.
and he is the best player playing at the highest level of basketball. Therefore, at this given time, I want to say he's the best player on the planet.
I don't think that's even remotely comparable. The jump says most valuable player. It does not say best player award because the best player does not mean that you are the most valuable player. The most valuable player and the best player, if I would have put up here who is the most valuable player, you would be right. Who is the best player on the planet? It's not the same because LeBron James ain't won the MVP every year, but it's several years LeBron James was the best player on the planet. And ain't nobody arguing that. I would agree when Steph Curry won the MVP in 2016. He was not better than LeBron. Nobody's going to argue that. LeBron was the best player on the planet at that time. So to switch that, I mean, I think, no, I don't think it's the same thing. But as I say, I think Steph Curry is the best player on the planet. I don't think anybody right now. I thought it was Giannis, but I told you, Giannis before this, I would have told everybody before these final games that Giannis was the best player on the planet. But missing 13 free throws, not being able to make offense in the fourth quarter of that Miami Finals took him down a notch. Not great notch. He's still to me, it's the second best. But I seen what Steph Curry do. And what that man do is good God Almighty. I don't think he can be stopped. I do not think nobody, and he even said it himself. They asked him, how do you stop Steph Curry? He said, I hope we never find out. Indicating that you haven't found out. We haven't known that to be. We have not seen that. I think he's better now than he was in 2016. I think Steph Curry is physically better because he put on more muscle mass. And another thing, he has seen everything. It's not a defense that he ain't seen try to cover him. They ain't seen the way that they're going to try to attack him. He's seeing everything, so he know. So I think he's at his physical peak and at his mental peak right now, currently. At 34 years old, he's better than what he was at 2016 when he won the MVP. I think he would have stayed healthy all season. He would have won the MVP this year. It's just health. It's out too many games. You miss 20 games, you can't win the MVP. But if you would have, you look at the numbers. He played statistically about a year this year than his MVP year. So another question, another thing that we saw before we move on from the Golden State thing is this right here.
I mean, we didn't execute the way we wanted to. I don't know how it looked on the court. Obviously, you're in the fight and you're trying to.
So the biggest question: are there other problems in Golden State? Which y'all saw that some that happened after the game 6 game in the loss. Are there problems between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green? What do you think?
That's a stupid question.
Yeah, I think it is probably. You punch me in the face and knock me out. We ain't never cool. We ain't never
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
We ain't never
Listen,
cool.
we are business
No cool.
partners. We have a business relationship. We play basketball for a lot of money, and a lot of it is predicated on us winning. So as long as we're
Yeah.
winning and things are going well, then okay, we ain't got to bring up that fact. But at the end of
Hmm.
the day, nah, we not cool. Like we not cool. Like, and yeah, and there's some things that some lines that can't be crossed. But
Yeah.
Jordan is there for the long haul. Draymond is not. He'll he'll be doing something somewhere else next year.
You think they win? They move on from Draymond.
I think they lose, they win, they have a tie game. Like whatever it happens, I think Draymond is done.
I think Draymond is very, very much earning himself a spot in this playoff, especially when he's showing how much he is moving on this defense end, how much he is an integral part to this offense. I think he's building a case. He's building a case. At the end of the day, it's a lot of pieces that you can move, and there's a lot of things you can do. At the end of the day, it's what Bob. I mean, it's what Joe Lacob is willing to pay, and he has shown he's willing to pay, go deep into the luxury tax. So, how long is his money? I think at the end of the day, he's as long as he gets some net profit, he's okay. I think he cares more about winning than he does about profit. And then shown when he playing $300 million in the excess of $300 million worth of luxury tax. And especially when you're making this money up in the playoffs. The deeper they go in the playoffs, the more money he makes anyway. So is this Golden State Water podcast or are we going to discuss the playoffs? We discussing the playoffs. So what's next for the Kings?
Yeah, what's that for the Kings?
Yeah.
Again, and before I answer the question, hey, what up, Diggs? What up, Kev? Jeremy, man, I don't think I know who you are, Jeremy, but man, I've
Jeremy
been
is the
listening.
guy that we played with
Oh,
on
okay. Oh, what's up, Jeremy, man? Oh, yeah, I do know him, man. I just know you by the
yeah,
name.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, got you. But you said what's next for the Kings? Man, listen, this is kind of like it's similar to what I was saying about Giannis and Milwaukee.
Hmm.
They are, I mean, for a long time. And again, what's the first playoffs in what 20 years?
Hmm.
20, about somewhere close to it. So yeah, I think they build upon that success. Winning in the NBA is hard, as the
Hmm.
Kings know, because it took them 20 years to get to the playoffs, and they have built. It's not been a free agent destination, like Vladdy, when he was running the organization, he was drafting poorly, making poor decisions. And I think that now they're actually putting players together and putting an organization together, and they're building around Fox, and they're in the playoffs. So I do believe they will eventually. See, the thing is, when you start making the playoffs, now you can start getting those veterans. Like no veterans don't want to go to an organization where it's just going to be a youth movement and they're going to sit on the bench and it's going to be lawless out there. But when you
Hmm.
start getting a winning culture, vets will say, you know what, I'll go out to SAC, I go out to the West Coast, so I'll run with those young boys. And so I think that they're a few veterans away from actually being more competitive than what they are.
Yes, I agree. Like I said, I've been watching the Warriors since Curry iteration. So I will say I remember them going to a 7 game series with the Spurs at the time. Spurs was the dynasty at the time, and they pushed them to 7 games and eventually lost in that. And the Warriors became who they are today. So I will agree. I think they got a lot of good integral pieces. I think there's certain things they got to build around. I look at Sabonis as that type Draymond guy. I look at a lot of pieces that you can add on to, especially, you know what I'm saying? I think they got great pieces. And I love what I see in Fox. At the end of the day, Fox has made a name for itself, especially. I think that fracture in his finger happened to change the season a lot. But yes, I would say this is a success for them because I think when they started out, their goal was to make the playoffs. I do not think their goals were the same equivalent goals as the Bucks. Because the Bucks starting off, I believe the Bucks had championship aspirations. I don't. I think everybody put those expectations on the Bucks. Nobody believed that the Kings were going to be where they exceeded expectations. I do not think at all their goal was to say, "Hey man, at the beginning of the season, we gonna win the finals." Nah, I don't agree with that. I mean, maybe y'all do it, and I think you're just trying to push out that
All
up
right.
playoff series. Let's go ahead and get these things on the back, man.
And so far, hey, tap that mic real quick.
We-
All right, so yeah, yeah. So, hey, do you still got those? Did you when we wrote down what the picks were, who we chose and what we chose? You
I
still
can
got it?
remember, but give me a second, man. I gotta use the bathroom. I can't. Sorry.
All right, so going through these comments. All right, so Lakers in six. 80, I'm gonna tell you, man, I am a firm believer that LeBron is gonna be hard to count out this year. I think it's gonna be hard to count out. Um, yeah, I like Bron. I wouldn't be surprised if Bron made it to the championship this year. I really do like what LeBron is doing. Kings are a good team. They had a successful season. They're a piece of two for being a great team. I agree with that. Um, I think that if you can take the Warriors to seven, I think that that's going to give them a lot to look forward to in the offseason. They took the Warriors to seven, and there's a lot of teams that can't do it. That young team took the Warriors to seven. So again, successful season. All right, you said so. You said what about
Yeah,
the?
I think I picked the Clippers. You picked the Suns. I picked the Clippers, but obviously I would have chose that if we ever got a chance to get back on. Kawhi didn't play, so I mean it's not reasonable for me to select the Clippers when Kawhi not playing, obviously. But the Nuggets, yeah, I thought it was gonna be an interesting season, but I think we both picked the Nuggets. The Lakers, I think we both picked the Lakers, right?
Yeah, I know I picked the Lakers. I don't know who you picked.
No, I picked the Lakers. No, I picked Memphis. I had the Warriors. I think you had the Warriors too. I had the Warriors in six though.
I know I
Yeah,
had
you
the
had
Heat.
the King. You had the Warriors in seven.
Yeah, I had the Warriors in
Yeah, I didn't
seven.
have the Heats. I had the Bucks, and I said if Giannis comes back, they'll win. But Giannis did come back and they still didn't win. Jimmy Butler still closed them out. And I had the Knicks. I think you had Cleveland. Yeah. So overall, you had one loss, and I say I had three. I still count the Clippers, even though I ain't get a chance to change it up.
Yeah.
But
So would you say the first round for you was a failure?
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, listen, I don't. Y'all be thinking y'all if y'all pose the question to me, I'm gonna change it up just because it's me. No, I will keep to say this is who I am. I do not change up my answers just because it fits something that I might not want. Find
All right, man. I'll keep
nice,
over
but
here. I'll put it
Nets and
low.
who you got Nuggets versus the Sun. The Nuggets are up right now, 1-0. So you got a nice little head start to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I still spot him again. I'm still taking KD.
Yeah, I got KD too. I don't care about one up. You can win those home games. Playoffs don't start until the road team wins.
My, my my rule of thumb is I think the best player in that series usually has the advantage. That's how I
I
feel
agree.
about it.
I definitely agree with that. That's a. I mean, I think that's the biggest crux of me in the argument that me and Sumler has. I don't understand. I don't really put you. We'll get into it, especially where I don't make this point when we talk Celtics. I mean, Celtics and Sixers, but Warriors and Lakers, Steph versus LeBron. Good God Almighty, man! I'm interested about this series. I don't think it's a more important series as far as legacy and I mean depth of the series and what it means. This might be the last time we ever see them play against each other again. Oof. What do you think about that? Who you got?
I got the Lakers.
Yeah, I got the Warriors, obviously. But I do think it's gonna be a hard test. I like the certain things, but the problems I hear what your comments are. I think the way the Lakers play now is a difference. If LeBron was on ball, I think he'd dominate a lot more. But LeBron has been playing off ball because with LeBron on ball, it cluster
It's
AD
Austin.
clusters the paints.
Yeah, it's been
You
that
don't
way,
want to make him.
and I think that
Yeah,
what they're doing with Austin Reeves,
yeah.
I think that I don't want to say the I don't want to say this. I think what you're seeing with Austin Reeves is
Mm,
you're seeing how there's gonna be a lot of Austin Reeves coming after this.
yeah,
I think so. I mean,
I
because
know.
you can build an Austin Reeves when you set up the sets the way the Lakers are
Hmm.
doing. They are creating a third star instead of paying for one, and
Hmm.
that is awesome. Like I love what the Lakers are doing. I
I
love it.
like that. I like that. But when you basically we can agree that the role that LeBron is playing right now is the Andrew Wiggins role on the Warriors. He's playing the wing, the jump shooting, corner jump, get the ball at the last second of the shot clock, make something happen. I don't think that's the best role for LeBron. I think LeBron is better on ball. So if you want to take LeBron off ball, even though I think he can play it and he's good at playing that, because LeBron is basically good at playing anything, but it's a lesser LeBron. Yes, you do capitalize on that because AD picks up. But I think that team overall is I don't think they match up totally well. Because you're gonna give me Austin Reeves. I take Austin Reeves with the ball in his hand. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the Warrior, I don't think um the Lakers defend the perimeter all that well.
Yeah.
Do you who you put on Steph? Who do you put on Steph? High
Yeah.
pick and roll, you gotta somebody gotta step out there with Steph.
I'm gonna say this right now. I know that Russell Westbrook isn't the shooter that people want him to be, but
Hmm.
if they had made this transition to how they're playing ball right now, when they had
Hmm.
Westbrook, it would work just as well as it's working right now.
No,
It would, because Westbrook needed the ball in his hand. He could not play off ball. Like, he could not do
mm-hmm.
it. He did
He
not
can't
have the
shoot that.
ability. He can't do it. But if he had the
He
ball
can't
in his
shoot.
hand,
He
like I
can't shoot.
said,
Austin Reeves
anything.
can shoot. Austin Reeves is a shooter. Russell Westbrook can't shoot a lick. Austin Reeves can shoot. Austin Reeves is probably 40% shooter. So they're totally different players. And the reason why I work with Austin Reeves is because he can shoot and Russell can't. It's just that
Okay.
simple. Russell stands out there. People do not guard him. I can show you a lot of clips where the AD and LeBron pick and roll did not work because number one, people pat the paint and they dared Russell Westbrook to shoot.
Hmm.
His man not even guarding. He's sitting in the paint waiting for the drive. And that's hard to do when you got three people in the paint setting up a wall against LeBron and AD. It just is it clustered the paint too much. So nah.
I just know, I know there's more ways to score than the pick and roll. All right,
Yeah,
but
but I
let,
agree with AD. I got Warriors in six though. I think it goes six, and I got Warriors in six.
I got Lakers in 7. I think
Nah,
y'all go back to back 7 game series. Y'all don't do that. Y'all don't go back to back 7 game series.
I'm not going to even disagree with you. It's all right. DiVincenzo, can't wait to see DiVincenzo versus Reeves. I don't think that's where the matchup goes. I think it'll be more Clay Thompson. I think they'll put Clay and Gary Payton on. Uh, 76ers versus the Celtics. And I'm gonna let you start this off because you're a Sixers fan. I'm gonna give you respect and let you handle it. Tell me the story of the Sixers beating the Celtics.
I can't give you the story of it. I think the Sixers won. I mean, because we these two organizations are so familiar with one another.
Mhm.
I mean, we do this every year. We can count on this every single year. This matchup. I think that now what you're getting, though, you're getting a more mature James Harden. And James Harden, like, people see the scoring and see that it's down and think that James Harden isn't as effective as he's been. But I think he's even more effective because now he's facilitating and he's playing off ball. Like, you know, we have the option to run it through Maxey, run it through James. I think the Sixers actually I think we do them in 6. And I
Mm.
think, and here goes, there's some important ramifications from the series. If if we don't win this year, then because Harden's on a 1 year deal, but more important than Harden made it, I don't know if Doc stays if we fail again. Because at that point, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing if we can't do it this year? What are we doing? So I think the 76ers play with a sense of urgency, and they don't let it go 7. I think they go 6.
Yeah. I want to pose a question to before I respond. I want to pose a question to Kevin. You're a Lakers fan, but you got Warriors in six. Do you agree with me with the same things that the Lakers probably gonna have find a problem with, or do you have your own case of
We
why?
have moved on from the Golden
I'm just
State
asking
Warriors,
him a
sir.
question because I want to hear his thoughts. So, like I said, do you think it's other reason? Please post in the comments. So, like I was saying with the Sixers, no, I got the yeah, I got the Celtics in five, number one, for the same reason. I'm gonna get my points. I'm gonna get my points. Number one, they have somebody that can defend James Harden. I think one of the best wing defenders is Jason Tatum. I think you put Tatum up there, you can limit him. And I think Robert Williams matters in this series. I think he's the best dominant defending big in the game. I think you put him on Embiid. I don't think he stops him because I don't think anybody can stop him, but I think you could slow him down. And my problem is that I always say I do not believe and your best player being a center you can win because of these problems. Overall, at the end of the day, when you get a ball to MP, you double him in the paint, and you force him to make a decision maker. I don't think he's one of the best decision makers, so I think he'll have more turnovers, especially in this series that's full of wings. I think when you got Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, I think they are excellent wing players, and I think wings are the best position on the court at all time. I think they're the most valuable position because they can guard and they can defend and they can score. Their size and their strength and their speed is just so unmatched. I like wings over every single position. I got wings, point guards. I got wings, guards, then centers, because centers can be limited very, very easily. You see it oftentimes in the playoffs. I don't think the Sixers have seen a team yet that they really matched up. That's the reason why they're winning. But I think that's what they get exposed right here, just like they always will, because at the end of the day, you double MB, you make them big passes, then you count on other people to make shots that's not your best player. So I got the Celtics. I don't think anybody can defend Jason Tatum. I don't think anybody can defend Jalen Brown. You asking James Harden to do that. I don't think he can. And I think at the end of the day, they can match up defensively against 76ers all the way around. I don't see what you do.
Court, court. All right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this right.
Mm-hmm.
When I hate the whole label of big man when it comes to Joel Embiid. Yes, he is a by stature he is a very huge human being,
Mm-hmm.
but he is a ball handler, he is a facilitator, and he is a shooter also. So he is not your traditional big where you can just leave him open in the mid range, or you can just
Where's
leave him
majority of his points? Where did he get the majority of his
man,
baskets?
he calls his shots, man. He calls his
Where,
shots.
I mean, where is the majority of his points? Where did he get the majority of his baskets?
I would imagine in the paint court.
All right. So that's what I'm getting with. And saying he's a shooter, I mean, he can shoot. But when I look at shooters, I look at jump shooting because number one, jump shooting is the most prevalent attribute to have in this league today. Jump shooting. So is he the jump shooter of a Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, and all these guys? No,
He
he's not
doesn't
that
have
kind of
to
jump
be.
shooter. Like you don't think he has to do. I disagree. I think he does. I think at the end of the day, that's more valuable than any other thing on the court when you're talking spread offenses in the league today. I think you pack the paint on Joel Embiid, you'll slow him down. I mean, I'm not I'm not against arguing this. At the end of the day, we'll find out. And after the Celtics beat, I bring up now I had the clips to show you when they double them in the paint, the bad decisions he made, the turnovers that leads to fast break, and you got a guy that's your best player that can't get down the floor like everybody else. And this will be the problem, the same way that it is always the problem. And it's not new. Everybody has seen these things, and that's the reason why I brought it up now versus just the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets have the exact same problem. At the end of the day, the reason why the Nuggets won the other day is because Jamal Murray was your best player on the court then. It was not Jokic. Jokic did not look like the best player on that team. It was Jamal Murray, and he's a guard. I think if now what's name can potentially win this series for you, but I told you Jason Tatum is a heck of a defender. I think he can slow down Harden. Now, if Harden plays like the best player, y'all beat him. But I don't think Harden is the best player. If Harden outplays Joel Embiid, y'all win. But if Joel Embiid is your primary resource for getting buckets, y'all gonna lose. And that's just my thoughts.
The laws of the universe are the same thing as on the laws of the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
Gravity, gravity is a real thing, and
Mm-hmm.
players like Joel Embiid, they demand a high level of gravity, which means that you have to double team him. And being that you're playing five on
Great.
five, that means that the other four gets three. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can say whatever position it is. Anytime you have a player that
Mm-hmm.
causes gravity like that,
Mm-hmm.
their team can be good. And I think this team can be good, will
But you
be good.
depended on other players making shot then, right? To make outside shots, right? So the question is, can the other players make outside shots at a good enough level to win you 4 games? If you kick it out, because you double Joel, he gonna pass. And now you taking your best player out of the play. And now you counting on other players to make shots. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I don't think the other players make shots. So next zone is the Knicks and the Heats, man. You got 1-0. Knicks. Who you got?
Jimmy Butler.
Got Jimmy. Even because I think disclaimers got to be told here that the Knicks are missing on Julius Randle. Even if Julius Randle comes back in this series, I think the Knicks win if Julius Randle can play. If Julius Randle don't play, I think Miami wins. So that's my disclaimer. If let's say if Julius Randle misses another game, if he misses another game, then it's done. They could lose one. But if the Knicks get Julius Randle back, yeah, I think they win the series. I think they could have won today. I think Jalen Brunson is good. I think they can limit Jimmy. At the end of the day, I think Jimmy is still playoff Jimmy. So I think he's the best clutch player in this jump. But I think Brunson is that dude, bro. Even in this game, I think he was that dude. I think he's up and coming. So that just about wraps it up for the NBA. You got any more comments on that? Any
Nah.
more NBA comments?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 76ers, sir.
All
Let's
right,
move
all
on.
right. NBA draft thoughts. Let's start this thing off with saying three black quarterbacks go in the top three. Who will have the most success? Who do you think will have the most success?
I don't even know how to measure success, Corey.
I mean,
How, 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 how can I measure success? I mean, because I don't think any of them will win a championship every single year. So I'm
no,
probably going to say they all will fail. Then
yeah,
they're all going to fail because neither one of them will win the championship every single year.
yeah. All right, that's your answer. You good?
Yeah, I'm
After that,
good. I'm good.
all right.
No, I think this is what I think. I think that the safest of them is Stroud.
Mhm.
I think he's the safest. He has prototypical size. He's fairly accurate with the ball. Um, like I said, I'm concerned about his aptitude, from what they say. But and then the fact that he's an Ohio State quarterback, like it makes me question because when the last time we seen a good Ohio State quarterback? I know Joe was there for a little bit, but he left. But Ohio State quarterbacks, I don't know. As far as Bryce, Bryce, I think that he will be the least successful out of them.
Because of his size.
Yeah, because of his size. I mean, because I think that Kyler Murray, um, him and Kyler Murray have similar size, and I
Mm,
think that Kyler Murray is more elusive. That's not Bryce's game. He's not as elusive as Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray still manages to get pummeled. He manages to get pummeled, and he's hurt now. He's hurt
mm.
now. You know, so the thing is, man, when you that slight, when you under 200, playing a gladiator sport like that, I just don't feel good about it. And then Anthony Richardson, I think that as long as Anthony, I I want you to think about this. Since they've been measuring the combine, this guy is faster than Vic. He's faster than Lamar Jackson.
Vic ran a 4.3.
Now, him and Vic ran about the same time.
No, he ran a 4.4. Vic ran a 4.3.
Okay, so he's faster. He's faster than Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Uh,
but his jump, his vertical,
Lamar
his
didn't run a
jumping,
40.
yeah, his vertical and jumping was higher than Vic's. I mean, he is Cam. He's big as Cam Newton, and he's more athletic than Lamar Jackson. But he wasn't good in college.
No, Lamar ran a 4.3 too.
What did Cam run? 4.5.
He's faster than Cam. He was faster than Cam. I know that. I don't have to look it up. He ran faster than Cam, but he didn't run faster than Vic or Lamar. But for his size, at the end of the day, size means a lot. He's bigger than Vic and Lamar. And he's very, very fast. So,
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Richardson on this thing.
mm,
But I don't think we're looking at a face of the franchise type quarterback out of any of them. I mean, face of the NFL type. I think these guys are gonna be mid-level quarterbacks
mm,
until their replacements come. I don't think. But if any of them were to be great, it would be probably Anthony Richardson. However, my concern is they say that he's extremely bright, so that's a plus. But the issue is, if you look at a resume and at his last place of employment, he wasn't very good. And if you're bigger and stronger than everybody else, why weren't you that good? And football's a team sport, so we're just going to say that it was the fact that he didn't have any other guys get drafted around him that were good.
Mm.
Skips us.
Well, me myself personally, I agree with Kevin, man. Probably likely the same reasons. At the end of the day, I think Richardson was drafted to the best team. I think Indianapolis are all three teams. They are have a defense that could play, and I think they have a more successful offense. They got wide receivers and Michael, and they also have a running back that you can build around. At the end of the day, what you want around your rookie quarterback is a stable run game. And I think they have that more than the Texans, even though the Texans are very, very talented in the run. That's a likely also the reason why I agree with you. I think Bryce has probably got the most the the tallest hill to climb. Because at the end of the day, I think Carolina didn't do him any services by drafting up to the one, because at the end of the day they put themselves in a harder position to build around him. And I think besides the defense, I think their offense has got holes all in it. I don't think it's going to take a while. So immediate success, I think immediate success will be CJ. I agree with you there because I think the Texans are close. I think the Texans did well in this draft. I would say they're the second best team that drafted. And I think the Texans, I like their coaching staff. I like the things they can do around him. Even though, like what you say is they think they're gonna be Lamar Jackson 2.0. I'm not gonna say that he couldn't be. I don't know. I don't want to put limits on that man. CJ could be. He could be better. We don't know. And a lot of things are measured about how it turns out. But Anthony Richardson, in the long run, I think will be the most talented. As I said when I evaluated him, he has all the tools for success, and he has the team around. I think he will have the most immediate success, and I think he'll be the best quarterback out of all of them. I would have took Anthony Richardson number one if I had that pick. So the end of the day, I take upside. I think he has the most upside out of all of them. So on to the next one. Will B. John change the trend? Running back value. Will B. John change the trend? He's been drafted top 10, number 8 pick overall. And we've been moving away from that in the latest years. Running backs, you've been finding running backs getting drafted in the late rounds, maybe the second round, but it's starting to move back to the first round, especially when seeing what's the name drafted in 12. You seeing this position, people starting to move on this position. Do you think this will change the trend? You will have more running backs selected in top 10?
No, because the fact of the matter is the value that you get there, you get the same value in the second, third round. I think again, I think organizations that do this, I think they're the organizations that typically are in positions to draft in the top 10 anyway. That's my
Mm.
that I mean like it's indicative of the type of organization that you're running that you're drafting in the top 10, because you do stuff like this. Now I think running backs like that are luxuries that bad teams cannot afford. And I think that no, I don't think that's going to change the trend at all. Now, I will say this, and I don't know if there's any science behind it, but if you look at when a running back is his useful life is about 5 years.
Hmm.
So drafting the running back in the first round, one thing I've never understood is why wouldn't you trade back up in 30 or in the in the late 20s so that you can get that extra year if you think a guy is special, as opposed to drafting him in the second round, like Javonte Williams. They drafted Javonte Williams, I think it was like the first or second pick in the second round, but I think I probably would have traded up at the end of the first to get an extra year. That way, I don't have to deal with negotiate to get another contract with this guy
You get the
to,
fifth year option.
to get the 5th year option, as opposed to having to actually re-sign running backs. Um, so yeah, that's my logic on it. I mean, I don't know the science.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. I devalue the running back position out of all positions. I think you was more better getting a cornerback like Christian Gonzalez there. I think it was way more value at positional than picking Bijan. I think the problem with this, and most people know this, I think when a kid goes to be in little league football, I think the most athletic people go to running back position. So you have a plethora of athletic specimens at the running back position, especially when you get in this young. So I think you can find great talented running backs even in the second round or the third round. So it's where the gap is. I think Bijan is very talented. But I think it's hard. I think the hardest position to transfer to the NFL is quarterback and second being cornerback. I think cornerbacks come to the NFL is tough to transfer. And I think getting athletically big cornerbacks in the draft is it's way more value at that. And I think the question is, I think they got a high failure rate though of cornerbacks. I think on running backs I have success rates. But still don't change my opinion. I think it's more value at picking either a defensive end, defensive lineman, offensive lineman. I think it's a lot of position more valuable than that. I think I agree with you. I think Atlanta is a horrible organization. I think that's the reason why they selected them. At the end of the day, they have no smarts when it comes to the draft. And I think that organization being the dumpster fire. I would have been I would have thought it was a better pick for y'all, even though I still agree with it being a bad pick, but I think y'all have a plethora. Y'all
It's a
had two
luxury.
first round picks. At the end of the
It's
day,
a
it's no,
luxury.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was no losing for you. You could do that because y'all
it's a
have a lot of
luxury.
positions that were met.
Yeah.
Y'all even drafted luxury. At the end of the day, all the picks y'all made was luxury, and y'all just increased competition at positions. I think y'all didn't have to make any pick. Y'all was still a talented team. I think
Mm.
y'all the most talented team in football. And that'll get to the last topic of discussion. Best draft overall. Best draft overall.
I think the most talented team in the NFL had the best draft in the NFL. And now I would say that without bias. Like I'm not saying that as an Eagles fan. I think that when it comes to positional value and the guys that they got and how they fit on the team and the luxury that those guys don't have to play immediately, I think it was just it was an ideal draft. It's probably the best draft I've seen the Eagles have since I've been a fan, and I've been a fan since Randall Cunningham.
Mhm.
So that'll tell you that.
Yes. Well, I want to say Kevin
Philadelphia
before this
Bulldogs.
comment get left. I think yeah, Atlanta should have drafted Levis, even though I think more value at drafting the quarterback. You got two, and they whatever one comes out. But yes, I would agree the Eagles had the best draft. I don't think anybody that watch sports would not think the Eagles had the best draft. They got overall to me, I already said Jalen Carter is the best player in this draft. I thought he was, no doubt. I don't think it was no question. I think Jalen Carter, whoever got him, was going to have a good success. But at the end of the day, I think it's hard to measure these things. It's always hard to measure because it's always instant measurement. And I think a lot of it comes down to being able to develop the talent you get. I think a lot of teams get talented players, but I think some organizations are terrible. I think Will Anderson is an excellent pick, but can the Texans develop him to
Yeah,
I'm not saying they can't. Well, I just use them
yeah.
as an example.
No. Let
Let's
me
say
to your point.
Indianapolis, can they develop the quarterback into the player that you want him to be? I think it's more pressure on the organization to groom these players. Because I think at the end of the day, the players get the raw end of the stick. They are talented, but I think organizations ruin them. There's a reason why wide receivers get. I think Keenan McCardell for us as a wide receiver coach builds wide receivers to be talented wide receivers. The reason why you got Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, he has been that wide receiver coach for a while, ever since we had talented wide receivers. So I think coaching staffs, even KJ Osborne, developing the talent you get, regardless what round you get them in, they are talented, but can you develop them into better talent than what they are?
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of that, one thing I want to say is like with the Texans, I'm gonna tell you, you can see the competency level has increased since they hired D'Amico Ryans.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if it's just him or if it's the GM, whatever. Like that, they look like they were competent. But you know what? It started to look competent last year too.
Mhm.
They started to look a little competent last year too. So
You don't think they overpaid? You don't think they overpaid to get back in the third?
mm-mm.
I think I wouldn't have spent it. I wouldn't have made that trade.
But
I think the trade was off.
because they're gonna be a bad team. Like they're gonna be a bad team. However, you got to get marquee players, and if they identify Will Anderson as a marquee player, then you go and get him.
Mhm.
So you got to get marquee players. They got, and here goes something else that you got to look at. Houston has a lot of money. They have a whole lot of money, and so if that organization, if they hit on Stroud, then they're going to be able to bring in free agents. If Will Anderson is a stud, then they're going to be able to bring in free agents. So when it comes down to it, this organization, they have a lot of money. They got a quarterback on a rookie scale contract. Their best defensive player is on a rookie scale contract, and they got Stingley last year, right?
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? Like they're building something special there. Like they're building something special, and they got money. So bravo
All
to
right,
them, man.
that's what I'm saying. What the trade was. What pick did y'all have?
We had 10.
Y'all had 10th, right? So this what I would say. The Cardinals traded back, right? And this what the Cardinals gained. I mean, what the Texans gave up. First of all, they gave up the 12th pick, the number 12 pick. They gave up the 33. So they gave the second pick in the second round, right?
Okay.
The first what that'd be the first pick. No, it was the second pick because it was on the 31 picks in the first round. So they gave up the 33. They gave a second and they gave up a first round pick next year, too. So they gave up two firsts, a second, which is the second pick in the second round, and also a third pick, was also the second pick in the third round. They gave all that up for just that first round pick
Hmm.
and a fourth round pick.
Yeah. So, all right,
And
but Corey,
oof,
this is a time of year, right, where these picks don't have names to them, right, and we think how valuable they are. But most
they
of the
are
times
valuable.
when I'm, what I'm saying is like, but most of the time when you add names to it, like if I name some of the former first round picks the Eagles have drafted, like Jalen Rager or Watkins the firefighter or Marcus Smith. You know what I'm saying? And I name all those guys and I put them in a deal to make a trade. And it's like, okay, yeah, you definitely would make a deal. Like, there's no guarantees. When you identify a marquee player, you go ahead and spend it and you let the hypotheticals be the hypotheticals.
I agree with you. You know, I'm not gonna. I want to make a trade, but as you say, I mean, if you think that's a good trade, I think yeah. At the end of the day, we'll find out. Like, yeah, I agree with you. At the end of the day, we won't find out what these trades are until they pass. I think a lot of people would have said that Stephon Diggs trade we made was bad, but we got Justin Jefferson. At the end of the day, that trade turned out to be very, very
There
well
you
in
go.
our favor.
There you
So
go.
I would agree with you. But we have reached that time, and I have to go to the bathroom again. So I don't want to mess up podcast etiquette. I think that was yeah. I apologize, y'all, but the coffee right through me.
All right. All right. So close it out, man. What you got?
Hey man, again, thank y'all for tuning in, man. Go Warriors. Go Warriors.
With that being said, love yours. We out.